started doing the stream, so I'm going to leave it on. Fading to black.
Let's fade out. Let's check the camera.
Hold on. All right. Oh yeah, you can. Yeah, I don't care if it sees this. Yeah, fade back up.
I can do ray tracing, I think the market, but this can't happen, sometimes it's not.
Oh, so yeah, to Donna, I think will.
Their brand is Cartella.
They want us first.
There's only like, we're down to 4 now, so it works out.
Oh, yeah, do they go? Oh, okay.
Check, check, check.
Check, check. Check, check, check. Check, 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 check.
Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3.
Check, check, check. Check, check, check.
speaker today, Mr. Phil Immordino.
Before we get started, can I just see a quick raise of hands? Who needs to improve their golf game? Let me just see a quick raise of hands. Okay, you're all in the wrong room. That's not going to happen here this morning. But I would like to see a raise of hands. Who would like to either start a golf outing or take your current event to a whole new level? Let me see a raise of, okay, good. And then who wants to not work so hard to get that done? Let me see. Okay, good. And then who wants to raise a lot more money? Let me see. Okay, good. Now you're in the right room. So thank you for coming. And thank you so much for that great introduction. My name is Phil Immordino, and I'm with the Golf Tournament Association of America. We are the association for all fundraising and corporate outings throughout the United States. And we just celebrated 25 years of serving you, serving people who put on golf tournaments. We've had a chance to teach and train over 250,000 tournament organizers throughout the world. And we at the GTA just have one simple mission. Everything we do is pretty much free, and it's to teach you to produce the best golf tournament possible. So I get a chance to talk with folks just like you around the country in seminars just like this, and I get to hear what works. I get to hear what doesn't work. So my job here this morning is to bring that information to you, to share with you how do we take your event to the next level. But I don't want this to be just pure lecture, because there's some valuable information in this room. Who's put on a golf tournament before? Okay, good. You are an expert. If you've done one, you have some great valuable information that we would love to hear from you. So please feel free to any time to interject, bring up an idea, have a question, but keep in mind this will be videotaped. So if you're going to ask a question, we have a microphone. We'd love to get that taped with your approval so that everyone can learn. We want to learn from you. One of the secrets to learning is taking notes. You've all been given an outline. If you haven't got one, let me know. We'll get you one. But an outline that we're going to go through every step of today's seminar. And take lots of notes, because key to learning is writing it down. And when you write it down, it sinks in a little bit better. So I want you to definitely take a lot of notes today. So today we're going to cover several items, hopefully things that you need to know. One, how do we put together a complete plan, a business plan on your event? Number two, we're going to talk about working with volunteers. We all need more volunteers and more productive volunteers. We're going to be discussing how to sell big sponsors, not just little hole signs, but major sponsors. We're going to talk about how to fill your field with golfers. We're going to discuss some money-making ideas, award ceremony, and then anything you want to talk about. We will have a Q&A at the end, but please feel free to interject, and we can also cover anything that you forgot to ask at the end of the seminar. So today's schedule, we're going to start now. We're going to go till about 1:30, and we're going to cover a whole lot of information. Then we're going to take a short 10, 15-minute break. Then we're going to get back at it, and we'll wrap up around 3. If anybody of you want to play golf afterwards, let the gals know, and they'd love to get you out there. It's a gorgeous day, a gorgeous course. So you ready to get rolling? Yeah. All right. Step number 1. What is your purpose? What is your goals? I know that sounds like a simple question for a lot of you. I'm sure a lot of you here are for one reason, to make more money. You're doing a fundraising event, but there's a lot of reasons to put on a golf tournament. But most importantly, you need to put together a business plan. A golf tournament is just like a small business. It has budgets, it has timelines, it has activities, responsibilities, and what we want to do is put together a business plan so that you can follow along and your team can follow along. But it starts with the purpose. What are you trying to achieve? I'm going to guess that most folks are here because they're doing a fundraiser. Let me see a just quick raise of hands. Who in this room is doing a fundraising event? Let me just see a quick raise of hands. See, there's 500,000 golf outings in the United States, and 90% of them are fundraisers because it's a great way to raise money. It's a great way to get exposure for your organization, but most importantly, raise needed funds for your organization. So it's great for charities, great for churches, great for ministries, schools. Fundraising is by far the #1 reason. But there's a lot of other reasons that people put on a golf tournament, and you need to keep these in the back of your mind because you may do a fundraiser, but you may want to think about doing other types of events. So the second most popular reason people put on a golf tournament is to entertain. See, you may be a charity and you don't want to necessarily ask for money, but you want to entertain your donors. And that's a great way to do it. Just say thank you for donating in the past, and a golf tournament's a great way to do that. So entertaining is very popular. It's popular for corporations who want to entertain customers. It's popular for associations who want to entertain their members. It's popular for chambers of commerce. So all types of groups can do an entertaining event. That takes a whole different picture than fundraising, because entertaining means first class and just showing everyone a first class great day that they're going to remember. The third reason people put on a golf tournament is exposure for your organization. See, a lot of people, they don't necessarily want to raise money that day, but they have a new group, they want to get the word out, who they are, what they're trying to achieve, and a golf tournament can do that because you're doing a lot of blast emails, you're doing a lot of press releases, you're doing a lot of hopefully articles and media interviews. So exposure is a good reason and purpose to put on your golf tournament. The other one is networking. A lot of groups will just simply want to get their group together. Maybe it's an association and you've got members and vendors you want to bring together. Maybe you're a chamber of commerce and you just want a lot of networking going on. It's a great way to build the strength and the foundation to your organization. And then finally, a competition. Very small portion of golf tournaments are a serious competition. You know what they are. They're ones you see on TV, the Masters. That's a serious competition. It's going on this week. But there's a lot of other mini tours and men's groups and women's groups. And the reason I bring this up, because you may want to think about someday doing a competition, and it still can be a fundraiser. You may want to have a competition, a serious competition within your industry, within your demographics, within your group. It may be the best accountant competition, or the best financial planner, or the best home builder. And you can do that type of serious competition and still raise money. So those are the main reasons that people put on golf tournaments. Your job is just to determine what's your primary focus. What's the main thing that you want to do as an organization? Not to say that you can't achieve some of the others, but you need a priority, because that needs to be your focus. Once you've determined that, now it's time to put together a business plan. All businesses have a business plan, but a lot of nonprofits fall short of being as organized as they could be and put together a serious business plan. You know, it's very frustrating when you're working with a committee and one person thinks you're doing this and another committee person thinks you're doing that, and you're all not on the same page. So important. Have a business plan. A business plan is simple. It's just, what are you trying to achieve? Whose different responsibilities who's going to be doing what? What are the action items? Who are the sponsors? Who are the golfers? Kind of a schedule of events, but a whole business plan is important. Then you can share that with your committee. Nowadays, it's popular to share it on Google Docs, so it's always available for everyone to share and look at any time, and there's no question of what you're trying to achieve. So a business plan is very important. Then the third step of defining your purpose is your goals. Now again, I know that sounds simple, you know, you want to have a successful golf tournament, but we need to get more specific, because people set out to sell out their tournament, but they end up with falling short. They set out to sell a certain amount of sponsors, but they fall short. So you need to set specific, attainable goals. And whether it's how many golfers, how many sponsors, what does the future look like? How are you going to build your event over a year? So there's a whole lot of factors in setting goals, and then try to stick with those. But most importantly, put together a plan with your purpose, the business aspect, as well as your goals, and share that with your team. Communicate that so everyone's on the same page. And now you've got the foundation. Now you can do the rest of your tournament, because now you have a business with focus and goals to achieve. So, step number 2, putting your team together. For most of you, I want you to really, really pay attention, because this is the secret to your success. This step right here is putting together your team. See, most of you, I'm going to guess, are a one-man or one-woman show. Maybe there's 2 people that do all the work, right? And you're doing all the work and you're wore out, and it's always up to you folks. But the key to your success is duplicating yourself, putting together an effective team that's going to be like you. The worst thing you have is a committee that doesn't do anything. So you want an effective committee. So we're going to go through a couple of key steps on how to not only get the right people, but also make sure that they're effective. So first step in putting together your team is to make sure you have the right size committee. Okay? Typical a committee is 1 or 2, 3 people doing all the work, but you'll get wore out. You need at least 6, ideally 9 people, and you'll understand why in just a second. But you need a good 9 people, dedicated, committed volunteers, putting together a tournament. And I really encourage not to allow your staff members to be on that committee. They can be involved, they can help over direct, but see, remember something, when you have staff of your nonprofit involved in the tournament, you must deduct their hours that you pay them towards the net of the tournament. And a lot of folks don't do that. They'll pay a marketing director $60,000 a year to coordinate the golf tournament, and it only nets 10. Well, that's a loss because they're not including that salary. So it's important that volunteers do the work. That's how you're effective. Volunteers are the secret to our industry. You know, the biggest tournaments in the world are run because of volunteers. The Phoenix Open, which happens to be in my neck of the woods, is the biggest tournament in the world. They get 250,000 people there every year. Do you realize it is run completely by volunteers? Volunteers run that event. And I know what you're saying, Phil, we're not a PGA Tour event, we don't have that big of a name, but you can, you will. They didn't start off as big as the biggest one in the world. They built over time, and you can do the same. But volunteers are going to help you be successful. Volunteers are going to help you be productive. So I suggest that you start with a good 6 to 9 people, and you're going to put one in charge of each area, but that's a good sized committee. The second thing you need are doers, not talkers. We all know the difference. Everyone knows everybody. Everyone's going to bring all this connections, and they're good talkers in the beginning, but then when it comes time to actual doing stuff, it doesn't get done. You know the difference. Pick the doers on your committee. Get rid of the talkers, because they'll just waste your time and cause a lot of frustration. And then the third thing, very importantly, is you need to recruit people with connections. So valuable, so important. The people on your committee must be connected and have valuable relationships, because they're the ones who are going to be getting your golfers. They're the ones who are going to be getting your sponsors. They're the ones going to be getting gifts and auction items and raffle items. So you need people with connections and that can really produce. So if you've got those type of people, the right size committee, people that are doers, not talkers, and make sure that they're connected, you're going to be much more productive. But once you put the team together, then the big question always comes, how do you maximize their efforts? Because it's great to have a bunch of people that are excited, and it's great to have a bunch of people on board, but if they're not motivated, see, remember something, your golf tournament is not their priority like it is your priority. They got a 9 million things going on. They got jobs, they've got family, they've got hobbies, they're busy. And they don't have time to focus on your event. So you need to make sure you can somehow corral them in and get them focused, get them motivated, and get it excited. So I'm going to show you just a couple of ways to really maximize the efforts of your committee. Number one is to train them properly. You know, we don't spend enough time training volunteers. You know, if you look at your regular job or any corporation job, you are actually, going through probably a week, 2 weeks, a month of training. You get this big manual how to do things because they want you to be productive. But in the volunteer world, we don't do anything. We say, okay, gang, let's go get some sponsors and get some golfers. We'll see you at the next committee meeting. Go get them. And that's training. So if you want them to be productive, you got to train them properly. So I suggest a full-blown training meeting with volunteers. Don't panic. You're going to be able to train them after today. But key is to their success, the first step is training them properly. Give them the tools to be productive. Put their job description and how they're supposed to do it in writing. Don't just tell them verbally, but train them and then put it in writing so they won't forget. Again, they're busy. They're going to forget about you and your event and what they're supposed to do. So train your people properly. Second of all, we need to give them ownership. See, right now, your event is your event. It's your organization, it's your passion, but it's not theirs. But what I've learned, and you all know this, is that the owner of a company works harder than an employee. Am I correct? We all agree with that concept? So we need to figure out a way to make these volunteers feel vested, feel like an owner of your golf tournament. And I'm going to show you how to do that, but it's very simple. We give them a job title, which I'm going to go through in a second. Thirdly, we need to motivate them. A lot of ways to motivate them, but not just go get them Tiger. Okay, there's many factors on how to motivate, in many ways how to motivate your volunteer committee, and we're going to talk about those. And then finally, we need to hold them accountable. So let's get into detail. How do we give them ownership of your event? Everyone on your committee should have a job title and job responsibility. That's their department that they're responsible for. Okay, these are the roles I believe that you need to fill on your committee. Number one is an honorary chairman. I love the concept of an honorary chairman. What's an honorary chairman? Someone who's well known, someone who has credibility, someone that gives you credibility. Because if you have someone famous, maybe it's the mayor or a celebrity, and they're the honorary chairman, people pay attention to you and your event. They go, oh, the mayor's going to be there. Well, this must be a big deal. Or the city councilman or whoever's famous in your industry, use their name to give you credibility. The next person, absolutely essential, is a tournament chairman. He or she is the CEO. They're the president, the general manager of your golf tournament. And they're the ones that get people excited. They're the ones that get people motivated. They're the ones that delegating all the work and overseeing the big picture. Ideally, gang, this should not be a staff person. This should be a volunteer. Because if a staff person is your tournament chairman, they go, oh, you're getting paid for this anyways. But if a volunteer's doing it, then people say, well, if you're volunteering, I can volunteer. Secondly, they really need to be, and please don't take this personal, but they need to be a golfer. They need to understand golf. Golfers get excited about golf. If you're not a golfer in this room, you don't understand the passion we have of winning that little trophy. You don't understand the passion we have of hitting the ball straight once in a while, or making that long putt that we rarely do. This is a passion that we feel, that we get excited. And I'm sorry, but if you're not a golfer, you don't get it. So it's really important to have golfers on your committee, and especially the tournament chairman. The next person I believe you need is a sponsorship chairman. You're going to learn today that sponsors are your profit. Pure and simple. And you'll see why. I'm going to show you the budget. But the more sponsors you have, the more money you're going to make. Pure and simple. In fact, I can correlate most tournaments and tell them how much money you made just by asking how many sponsors they had, if it's done properly. But what that tells me is you need someone responsible for sponsors. You need a sales manager. You need someone making sure that you're going to get the right amount of sponsors. Now, that doesn't mean they sell all the sponsors. Everybody on the committee is involved in getting sponsors, but this one person is the manager over sponsors. They're keeping track of who's calling who and who's in and who's out and who's paid and whose logo you have and what logo it goes on what shirt, so forth. So you need someone overseeing sponsors. The next person you must have is a golfer chairman. We're doing this because of golfers. Did you realize that of those 500,000 golf tournaments throughout the United States, the average event only has 72 golfers? That's half sold out, gang. You know the full field is 144. So 72 is the average amount of golfers in a tournament. My guess is we all want to sell out year after year. Am I correct? Well, we're going to talk about that. We're going to show you how to do that today. But you need someone overseeing that. You need a golfer chairman. Everybody in the committee goes out and gets golfers, but the golfer chairman oversees the process. Have you called this group? Have you called that group? Have you got their names? Have you got their emails? Have you got their shirt size? Make sure that that one person oversees the golfer process. The next person you absolutely must have is an operations manager. See, there's a lot of details. There's over 100 things just to do to put on a golf tournament. So you need someone to make sure that the golf course is set up and running smoothly, that volunteers are in the right place, that the goodie bags are put together, that the food is being served on time. You need an operations chairman, a detailed person who can oversee all of the details for your golf tournament. You also need a gift and prize chairman. You're going to learn today that your event is judged on the gifts and prizes you give out. If you give out a bunch of plastic donated stuff, that's how you're perceived. Okay, so you want to look first class. You want to be with, and you do that with gifts and prizes. So I'm going to encourage you to have a gift and prize chairman that oversees. We're going to go with that in detail. You also need a PR chairman, someone who oversees all the public service announcement, make sure that social media is getting promoted. And this is why I love this, especially with social media, the word of your event and your organization travels fast. And you need someone to make sure that that's being done. You need to partner with the radio station. You need to partner with a TV station. We're going to cover all that. But a PR person is going to help you with that PR and marketing. And then you also need an auction chairman. Auctions are big money. Today, online, big audience, you can do it right and make a lot of money if you do it properly. But you need someone to oversee that process or it will slip through the cracks. There's no reason that auctions can't make as much money as the sponsorships do if it's done right. So these are the positions you need to fill, and for several reasons. One, it cuts down on your work. If you're trying to do all of this, you're going to be wore out. You're going to be exhausted, and you're going to not want to do it the following year. But if you maximize yourself and fill the position, people are going to be doing the work, spreading out all the work, and it makes it just a much easier process. But most importantly, gang, this is important, they feel like they own your event. They're an owner. They feel responsible. Yeah, I'm the sponsorship chairman. I got to make sure we reach our goals. I'm the golfer chairman. I got to make sure that we sell out. So fill these spots, people take responsibility, and you will be more successful. Now the question is, how do we motivate them? And please don't take this wrong, but understand the concept. People on your committee are just doing what they have to do to get by, to make you happy. Hey, Phil, did you sell that sponsor? Yeah, I got my whole sign in. I'm done with the tournament. Or I brought my foursome. I'm good, right? That's kind of the attitude that's going on. I got to do something. I'm a volunteer, so I'm just going to get done what I have to get done just so they get off my back. And quit sending me those emails bugging me to get more foursomes. What's their motivation to sell more foursomes? What's their motivation to sell more sponsors? I see your hand raised. I'll get to you in a second. So they need a motivation. They need something to give them that little push. You follow what I'm saying? Did you have a quick question, buddy? Loud?
My name is Anthony Phil. Thank you so much. I just had a question on the honorary chairman. So I didn't want you to backtrack. That would be a one-off, but just a one-liner, just so I can understand it.
Okay. Tell me your question, and I'll cover it.
You lost me at honorary chairman. I'm sorry.
Okay. I'll backtrack. Not a problem. I believe you need an honorary chairman. What is an honorary chairman? Someone well-known within your circles that gives you credibility. Okay? So it might be a retired athlete. It might be a politician. And they're not going to do a lot of work. Don't get me wrong. You'll be lucky if they show up at your golf tournament. But the fact is they let you use their name because they know you and you know them, and it gives you credibility. So if you've got the mayor as the honorary chairman, or you've got a famous athlete, then it gives you credibility. Does that make sense? Okay, good. But now let's get back to how do we motivate your committee? How do we get them excited? So here's just a couple of things, gang, and please don't take your volunteers for granted. Here's the big problem with nonprofits and charity is that we use and abuse our volunteers. We use them just to get our work done, but we don't appreciate them and we lose them. So if you want your volunteers productive, coming back year after year after year, here's just a couple of ideas. Number one is appreciation. Now, I know you deep down, you appreciate them, but do we tell them that? Do we say, I appreciate you, thank you so much, and not once, not twice, over. You can't say thank you enough. But you appreciate them by showing them and telling them, but you also show appreciation by recognition, by giving them a plaque, by giving them a certificate, by putting their name in your newsletter, by introducing them at the awards ceremony. But think of ways that you like to be honored. And I know we want to be humble, but we still love that pat on the back, right? We still go, oh yeah, they really need me here on this team. So appreciate your team, and they'll be with you long term. All right, the next thing to do is recognize. I mentioned a couple of ways. Recognize them in your newsletter. Put their name on your website. give them a certificate, a plaque, introduce them at the award ceremony, introduce them wherever you go. Make them feel important, because they are. Without them, you're not going to be as successful. So make sure that you recognize your committee members. And then finally, incentives. This is a little controversial. I always get in trouble with this because people say, well, they're going to just volunteer out of the goodness of their heart. And I don't doubt that, and they are. But they're only going to do so much. As I said before, they're only going to do so much out of the goodness of their heart. So we need to give them a little push. We need to give them a little incentive to work harder, to reach their goals. So it's real simple. For example, they bring in a foursome. But if they bring in 3 foursomes, you're going to give them a certificate for dinner. If they bring in 5 sponsors, they're going to get a weekend stay at a hotel that you got donated a certificate. You follow me? Give them a reason and a motivation to reach their goals, and they're going to work harder. It's that simple. So give them incentives. Have a little contest. But here's the big one, gang. You ready? Here's the big, and I think it's a home run. Reward the volunteer that does the best. Okay? Have a contest. So the volunteer that brings in the most foursomes, the most sponsors, the most money is going to win a trip on a cruise or to the Bahamas. Have a big prize. You're going to get it donated from some cruise company or airline tickets or something, but have a big prize for your volunteers, not just for the raffle, not just for the auction, but for your volunteers. Give them a reason to work a little bit harder. Does that make sense? Do you like that concept? For example, the sponsor or the volunteer that brings in $25,000 in golf revenue, sponsor revenue, they're going to get a cruise for 2 to the Bahamas. The golfer that brings in $5,000 in sponsors and golfers is going to get a set of golf clubs. Now they've got a little motivation to work harder. Because again, don't take it wrong, but they're just doing what they have to do to get by right now. So if you give them a little incentive, they're going to work just a little bit harder. And then finally, the way you make your volunteers more productive is accountability. See, because there are volunteers, we're afraid to hold them accountable. We're afraid to push them. Well, listen, you can't fire them. Can't cut their pay, right? So how do you hold them accountable? It's simple. It's not hard. First of all, in the beginning, I really encourage you, remember when we talked about training them and you put their job description in writing? I would have them sign it. This is my job. And not that they're going to bind them or take them to court, but I have learned that when you sign something, you're a little bit more committed than you would be normally. So if they sign this agreement, this is my job responsibility, and one of my jobs is to get 3 foursomes, 2 sponsors, and some gift items, and they sign it. That's the start of accountability, because they've agreed to do this. This is my job, this is my responsibility, so this is what I'm planning on doing. So just hold them accountable to that. Maybe just once a week, give them a phone call. Hey, Johnny, how's it coming? How can I help? Did you get a chance to call so-and-so? I know you were working on this foursome. How's that coming? Let me just remind you, we're busy. Us volunteers, we're busy. We got life, hobbies, and work, and relationships. We're not thinking about you every day. But if I know that you're going to call me once a week to ask how I'm doing, guess what? I'm going to work just a little bit harder. So pick up the phone. Once a week, call them. How you doing? What's going on? And then what I love to see is a weekly report. Once a week, you have them email you what's happening. It doesn't have to be in depth or detail, but who you're working on, who's in, who's paid, who's not. Just give me an idea of what's going on. Now you've got a weekly report from everyone in your committee, what's happening out there. It gives you a good feel of where you need help. It makes them work a little bit harder because they don't want to give you a report that says nothing, right? So have them give you a weekly report, what's going on. And on top of that, maybe, obviously some committee meetings, which we're going to talk about. But these are the ways, gang, if you really, really, really want to be successful, you've got to multiply yourself. You've got to recruit really, really great people who are connected and motivated. You've got to make sure that you give them ownership and delegate their responsibilities, train them properly, hold them accountable, and give them a reason to be successful, and they will. You watch. You do this one little step, and your event will double or triple in size, I can promise you. But your team is a secret to your success. All right, let's move on to hole number 3, timeline. The biggest mistake for volunteer nonprofit events is one thing: not enough time. I get a call or an email every day. Yeah, our tournament's in 1 month. You got any good ideas? Well, I know we're getting a late start. Our tournament's in 6 weeks. We don't have any golfers. If you're starting right now for your tournament in 6 weeks, cancel it and start over. Gang, let's be honest. And we're here to talk about how to take your okay event to the next level. So we're talking about steps that are going to make it big, not just the average tournament. So there's some things you need to do in advance to really do this thing right. I really recommend you give yourself a year to do it the right way. Now, that doesn't mean you've got to be working on it every day for a year, but there are some things you need to do a year in advance. I like to secure the date and secure the golf course a year in advance. Save the date, beat everyone to the punch, let everyone know this is our date and we're out there. Give your golfers a heads up, give sponsors a heads up, but let everyone know this is the date. And let me tell you why this is so important. The big challenge, and we're going to talk about this in detail, is selling sponsors. We wait till the last minute to sell sponsors. But if you want the big money, you've got to get to sponsors 6 months to a year in advance. Because they don't budget big money the last minute. They budget the big money well in advance. So that's the main reason. But there's so many things you want to do. I don't think you need to start getting together really on a regular basis, maybe 6 months out. Obviously, there's some things you want to be doing before 6 months, and you want to be, putting your committee together, putting your budget together, putting together the business plan. But about 6 months out is go time. That's when you want to start getting your committee together. You want to start meeting maybe once a month for the first couple of months, and then every other week, and then once a week the last 2 months. But one of the greatest things I believe that came from COVID is me learning how to do a Zoom call. That has saved me hours of travel time, hours of gas money. I love Zoom, right? Because now I just gotta comb my hair. That's the problem, is not scheduling them too early in the morning, because then I gotta wear a baseball cap or a hat. That's right, well, hats. But Zoom is magic. I mean, it allows you to have committee meetings at the last second without traveling and planning and put it in your calendar. But meetings are so key, and communication is so key, and you need to start that 6 months in advance. You need to start getting sponsors 6 months in advance. You need to get media partner, the radio station, the TV station, trade magazines, 6 months in advance. These are things that can't be done 2 months in advance. Okay, you can't get all the big stuff done in 2 months. A lot of stuff you can do. Getting golfers 2 months out, start promoting 2 months out. Obviously, start meeting on a regular basis, see where you're at on a regular basis. But I have a whole checklist, over 100 items, which I'm going to make sure that you guys all get if you haven't already gotten the book from Crystal Springs. So very, very important, gang. The message here, give yourself plenty of time to do it right. Give yourself a full year to make it big. All right, step number 4 is the budget. Now, this is pretty much common sense, but there's a couple things that you may not be aware of. The average golf tournament in the United States raises $5,000. Believe it or not. So if you're raising more than $5,000, you're to be applauded. I know you're not happy, but to be honest, it's relative. I've had soccer teams that raised $2,500, pay for the uniforms, and were ecstatic. I've worked with hospitals that raised $150,000 and they were depressed. It's all relative, right? So you can be as big as you want to be. You can raise as much as you want with the right plan. But you need a budget, and you need to be realistic. So if you've never done a golf tournament before, $5,000 is a great place to start. But if you've got the foundation, you got the connections and the relationships, there's no reason that your tournament can't make $25,000, $50,000, even $100,000. And we're going to talk about some of those ways today. But here's going to be your basic income sources. Obviously, sponsors are the profit. Keep that in mind. Golfers basically are going to pay for the expenses of the golf tournament. Auctions are big items, big income area. If you do those right, we're going to go in detail about auctions. Games and contests can raise an additional 25%. You got the super ticket, which we're going to get into, and then donations and appeals can be big if they're done properly. We're going to talk about all those in depth in just a moment. Your expenses are going to be the golf course, food and beverage, gifts and prizes, signage, insurance, website registration, promotion, and photography. Okay? Now I'm going to give you a secret right now. This is huge. Write this down. To guarantee a profit for your golf tournament. You ready? Do not spend more than you bring in. If you can follow that concept, gang, you're going to make some money. I know that sounds crazy, but I see tournaments that lose money. It was so sad. I participated in a tournament maybe 6 months ago. I was invited by a friend, and they had booked this really great golf course. They'd never done a tournament before. They'd promised 120 golfers, and they got like maybe 4 foursomes. You know how much money they lost. They committed 120 to the golf. They bought shirts. Big mistake. They overcommitted. That's one thing we do not want to do, overcommit. If anything, undercommit, because you can always add to it, right? Especially in the beginning. So there's ways you can lose money. By overcommitting, by giving away foursomes to people who don't, like the committee members think they get to play for free. No, doesn't happen. There's no free lunch. Trading sounds great, but trading is not trading unless it's not for a foursome. Think about it. People say, oh, we'll give a couple of foursomes to the radio station in exchange for them to promote the tournament. Well, sounds great in theory, but that's not going to work. You're not going to get golfers from a radio spot, and I'll explain why. But you're going to spend a couple grand out of your pocket for the golf and the food and the merchandise. So it's not a good trade. I'm not saying don't trade with the radio station. I'm saying don't trade for foursomes that cost you money. Yes, sir.
Quick question. Can radio spots help with sponsors?
I will say this. Radio spots don't help get sponsors, but they help promote the sponsor once you get them. In other words, you're going to make the sponsor feel a lot better, okay? And we're going to go into that in depth, but that's a great question. I'm not a firm believer that the media should be helping you sell golfers and sell sponsors. To be honest with you, that should be done already. When you start the promotion and advertising 2 months in advance, you should be sold out, at least sponsors and hopefully golfers. But that's not how they come. But it's great to have it because it gives recognition to your organization and it gives recognition to the sponsors, and they feel like they're getting their money's worth. But I'm going to go into detail. Great question. So people ask me, so how much do we charge to play in a golf tournament? What's the magic number? Now, this is especially for you guys who are just getting started. But here is a good formula if you're just getting started. Doesn't apply to all of you, so don't take that wrong, but if you're just getting started. See, remember something. Our goal is to fill up our tournament the first year. But our other goal is to make sure we don't go broke in the process and get all our expenses covered. And the third goal is to make sure we make sure the golfers are feeling like they're getting their money's worth, which we're also going to go in detail. So here's the formula. Take your expenses per golfer and charge that, or maybe a little more. So let's say golf is $75. Let's say food is another $25, and let's say a shirt and a hat another $25. So let's say your raw expenses per golfer is $125. In the beginning, you're going to want to charge $130, $135, $140, just to make sure you cover your expenses, because that's not where the big money is, okay? And remember, you do not want to overcharge in the name of the charity. Big mistake that charities make. Well, we're going to charge $500 to play in our tournament because it's a fundraiser. But remember the mentality of a lot of these golfers. This is very important. If they believe in your charity, all they have to do is write you a check. But that doesn't mean they've got to participate in your golf tournament. If they don't feel like they're getting their value, they're not going to do that. I'll give you an example. I got an invitation, this is a long time ago, but for my son's school golf tournament, right? And I get this beautiful invitation. It was silver and glittery, and they wanted $250 to play in this golf tournament. But it was at a golf course down the street, open to the public, that I could play any day of the week. I looked at the food. There was no lobster. I looked at the goodie bag. There was no, down jackets. It was golf and a hot dog. And they wanted me to pay $250. So let me tell you what I did. I wrote the school a check for $150. I just saved myself $100, right? That's what your golfers are thinking. Why do I need to play in this golf tournament if it's at a dumpy golf course and they're not giving me any value? So keep that in mind, and when you're creating those registration fees, don't overcharge in the name of the charity. The money's coming from somewhere else. The money's coming from sponsors and appeals and auctions and raffle and so forth. But you want to fill the field with golfers. So keep that price low, keep the value high, and you will sell out. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, hole number 5, the golf course. People think that the charity is most important. And please, again, don't take this wrong. What is the first question everybody asks when you tell them we're putting on a golf tournament? What does that tell you? Okay, don't get me wrong, the cause is important. But they're playing a big part because of the golf course. So if we're going to settle for a dumpy golf course, the one that down the street that the public can play anytime for $50, why are they going to pay you $300 to play in your tournament? So it starts with the golf course, getting top priority. So you need to find a great place, something exceptional, something high class, something that they normally don't get to play. So we need to find out, what are golfers looking for? Why do we golfers, and I'm a golfer addict, just so you know, what are we looking for when we're looking at a golf course? Okay, a couple things. Number one, we're looking for something special and unique. If they're playing at the course down the street that I've played a million times, I'm yawning. I want a private country club. I want a resort. I want something really special, right? Number two is I want a course in phenomenal condition. I don't want a dumpy golf course. And trust me, gang, most courses are dumpy. If you're not a golfer, you don't understand this concept, but we need smooth running greens. We need mowed rough. We need sand in the sand traps. Okay, we need a nice golf course to justify that money that we're going to spend. We need good food and beverage, not a drink ticket and a burnt hot dog. Okay, us golfers get excited about something good to eat, so give them something good. But here's the big word, guys, that we're looking for. Write this down, very important. We're looking for value. What does value mean? It means I'm getting more than I pay for. How many times have you participated in an event and you were disappointed because you didn't get your money's worth? Okay? We want our money's worth and then some. And if we do get value, we're not only going to come back, but we're going to bring out our checkbook and give you a donation. So don't try to take advantage of them just to play in your tournament. Give them value, give them a great golf course. Yeah, and what I've learned is golfers will pay you more if you give them more. So in other words, if you're going to give them a dumpy golf course, they're not excited about it. But if you give them something special, unique, that they don't normally get to play, they'll pay you more because they're excited to play in it, right? So then the big question is, how do I get the best value from the golf course? How do I get the best deal? Well, there's no better deal in town than Crystal Springs Resort. Right, Luis? But let's say you're out of town. Let's say you haven't picked your golf course yet. How do you get the best deal? How do you get the best value? And I'm not a component of getting the cheapest golf course in town. It never works out well. So don't go down the phone book and say, Do they make phone books anymore? Don't go down the Google search and say, what do you charge, what do you charge, what do you charge? Okay, it's not about that. It's about getting the value. So here's some ways to get more value from the golf course. Number one, it's about the relationship. Build a relationship with the golf course. Get to know them. Get to know their needs. Let them understand your needs. They want to work with you. Trust me. So build a relationship. You got to have a great cause. If you're trying to raise money for your administrative expenses of your organization to stay alive, there's not a lot of heartstrings being pulled. But if you're raising money for a scholarship for a kid to get out of poverty, or you're raising money for a kidney transplant for a young child, guess what? You're going to pull some heartstrings, and the golf course wants to be a part of it, so they're going to work with you. So have a good cause, gang. Very, very important. Also, be flexible with your schedule. If you've got to have a Saturday or a Sunday in prime season, perfect weather, plan on paying more. It's supply and demand. But if you can be a little flexible with your calendar, maybe it's a little on the shoulder season. Maybe it's Monday through Thursday in the afternoon, you're going to get a better rate, pure and simple. So be flexible with your calendar. Consider a buyout. Have you ever bought out a golf course? You don't have to just accept the rate what it is. You can buy the whole golf course for the day. And they're going to work with you because they want to sell you the golf course for the day. Maybe it's a half a day. Maybe it's a full day. Maybe it includes meals. Maybe it includes gifts and prizes. But look at the package. You could buy out the golf course for a half a day, and if you fill it up, you're going to win. The risk is if you don't, you're going to lose. So you got to know your event, but you can sometimes get better value, better deal if you buy out the golf course. And then finally, show the golf course how you can bring them more business. Every golf course wants more business just like you do. So show them how you can bring them additional events. Maybe sign a 3-year agreement. Maybe bring them a wedding or two. Maybe promote their membership. Promote golf to your members. If they see the value, see more business coming from your group, they're going to work with you. So just give them more business. But I'm here to tell you, gang, the golf course is one of the most important things for your golf outing. Don't take it for granted. Pick something special that we golfers like to play, and we'll pay you more to do that. Make sense? All right, hole number 6, format and scoring. Many of you don't even know what a format is. 90% of golf tournaments are shotgun scrambles. Nothing wrong with a shotgun scramble. But let me make it clear. The right format can help your participation, and the wrong format can hurt your participation. So, the right format can make more money, and the wrong format cannot make as much money. A shotgun scramble is not the biggest moneymaker out there. The reason it's so popular, it's easy. It fits the needs. And I'm not saying don't do that, but there's a lot of factors when picking that format. So all I'm asking you to consider is to know what the different formats are available to you, and then make a decision on what format fits your event and your organization. Make sense? Yes, sir. The biggest money maker. Great, great question. PGA Tour. I know that sounds funny, but they raise millions. Why? They have TV, they have major sponsors, they have pro-ams, they have vendors, they have a party. And we laugh, but why can't we strive for that? So yes, but on a non-professional event, what are some biggest money makers? Celebrity events, pro-ams, golf-a-thons, and I'm going to get into detail on all those 3. So hang tough with me, okay? So the question, though, is what's the right format for you, okay? And I think it starts with understanding your purpose and understanding your golfers. See, the reason that scrambles are so popular is because most golfers in the United States, in fact, 90% of golfers in the United States are not serious golfers. They golf 4 times a year. Your tournament happens to be one of them. And so scramble works great. Why? Because they don't have to use their ball every time. But did you know this? That us serious golfers, the guys that play on a regular basis, we hate scrambles. Did you know that? I hate scrambles. Why? Because I want to play my own ball. I don't want to hit it as hard as I can and see whose ball's best and then go hit it again. So I'd rather play a best ball. So you have to ask yourself, well, what's better for our event? Well, I don't know. Do you have serious golfers or do you have a bunch of hackers that play 3 times a year? Some of you are saying, Phil, what's the difference? And I know most of you know, if you're a golfer, you understand, but real quickly, what is the difference between a best ball and a scramble? Okay, first of all, scramble. Perfect, most popular, great for not very good golfers who don't golf very often. It's 4 people on a team. These 4 people, they get on a tee box. They all hit their ball as hard as they can, and they pick the best one. The other 3 pick up their ball wherever it went, drop it where that best one is, and then all 4 of them hit it again. They pick the best one. 3 people pick up their ball, take it to that best ball, drop it there, and they hit it again. It results in a good score, and also it doesn't make the, well, definitely moves it along, but that golfer who's intimidated or scared because they don't golf, they don't got to use their shot. If they make 1 putt in the hole 18, they feel like a hero. You know what I'm talking about? They have that 1 good shot out of the sand. Boy, they're a hero. So the beginner golfers or the ones who don't play, they don't have to hit a good shot every time. Perfect for that.
What do you think about a hybrid where you could choose either a scramble or a best ball?
Well, I don't like to give them that opportunity in advance. I want to make that determination and say this is it, because it gets too confusing. You got these people doing this, these people doing that. But a great example of that is a modified scramble, which I'm going to talk about. So on the flip side, we have a format called the best ball. That's for a little bit more advanced golfers. How does that work? Still 4 people on a team, but they all hit their own ball every shot. And then at the end of the hole, who had the best score? You write that score down. So that's a best ball. But now, what if you have a little bit of really good golfers and you got some hackers? Now what do? You got both. Well, modified scramble. Some people call it a shamble. So it works like this. Still 4 people on a team. They all hit their drive. You pick the very best drive. The other 3 pick it up. But the difference is, from there on, they hit their own ball in the rest of the way. So they always get a good start with a good drive, but then they play their own ball. And you can score it many ways. You can score it by the best person's score on that hole. You can combine all 4. You can take the best 2, best 3. Many ways to do that. But here's the thing to remember, gang. There's 100 ways to produce a golf tournament. And you've got to at least understand a lot of those ways and what's going to work best for your event and your caliber of golfers. So it might be a scramble, might be a best ball, might be a shamble, modified scramble. But there's a bunch of other ways. Now, if money is your goal, if you want to raise the most money, then you've got to be thinking about something different. And I'm going to give you a few big money-making formats. Number 1 is a Pro-Am. Has anybody ever heard of or played in a Pro-Am? Okay? Very simple. You put a golf pro in a foursome. It's that simple. Do you know the PGA Tour is charging between $5,000 and $10,000 for 1 person, 1 round of golf in a Pro-Am? Like I said earlier, golfers will pay you more if you give them more. So the concept is solid. Now, you all can't be running around doing PGA Pro-Ams because it's hard to get the big name pros on TV. But there's no stopping you from getting local golf pros. You realize there's hundreds of local golf pros right here in your community? These are guys and gals that work at a golf course. They give instruction. They're really, really good golfers. They're just not on TV. So you could do a Pro-Am with them and still double, triple, quadruple your registration fees. So think about a Pro-Am. Another concept is a Celebrity-Am. Same format where you bring a celebrity in your foursome, people will pay you more. Celebrity doesn't have to mean Hollywood movie star. Celebrity is someone that's simply well known. It could be a local athlete, a retired athlete. It could be a local politician. It can be a successful business person. There's someone that will pay you extra to play with someone who's a celebrity. Could be a radio announcer. Yes, ma'am.
Do you usually pay those people?
Great question. Celebrities or pros? It depends. Celebrities, you shouldn't have to. Hopefully, they're local. Okay? Hopefully, they're local so you don't have to cover their travel. If they're coming from out of state, you can probably have to cover their travel if they're well known. But celebrities, hopefully, you won't have to pay. But keep in mind, celebrities can be flaky. So you need those relationships we talked about to get their commitment early that they're going to show up. Because if they get a better gig, they're going somewhere else. So you need some backups. But the Pro-Am, you might have to. So let me tell you how that works, okay? So there's 3 ways to get pros to play in your event. One is to pay them. You can pay them $100 on their day off, and the local pros would jump at the chance, make $100, $200 on their day off. Okay? That happens. I'd rather get them committed, donated their time because they love you, they love your organization, and you get the pros out there. But number 3, once you get them to pay you. You ready? So, put on a Pro-Am where they now have a prize purse. So you make, let's say, every golf pro in your tournament pay $100. And if you get 36 pros paying $100, now you got a pot of money of $3,600. The golf pros play for that money. So first prize might be $1,000. Second prize might be, $500. Third prize, $350, and so forth. But now you're paying them with their own money. But this is happening all over the country. So you don't get to see that money that they paid you. But what you get to see is the double or triple the registration fees they pay to play in your tournament. Does that make sense? You got that figured out? Yes, sir.
Now, the same thing with the Pro-Am or with the celebrity. Do you charge them the golfing fee?
The celebrities or the pros? Good question. Do you have to have to pay for them? It depends on the golf course. A lot of golf courses, okay, will say you can have a foursome, but we'll allow a 5th player, and we won't charge for that. Especially if they're PGA pros, because the golf course wants to be reciprocal. Sometimes they will for the celebrities, but remember, you got to get something back to the golf course. So if you're going to get celebrities, you got to offer them some media exposure. You got to give them something in return because they just don't want another 20, 30 people out there for free. So a lot of times what I've done is do a threesome and a celebrity. If the golf course won't allow that 5th person, sell threesomes and a little bit more to cover the expense of that 4th person. Does that make sense? Okay, so there's several ways to do that. Ideally, it'd be great if the golf course just gives you that 5th person. Maybe not the food part of it, but the golf part of it, just to help you out. So it's found money for you, if possible. So bottom line is, those are 2 big money-making, and they're a lot of work, but you can do it with the right contacts and relationships. But can I tell you the funnest, biggest money maker? I don't know if this is even worth mentioning. Does anybody need an extra $100,000? Let me just see quick. Nobody? Oh, 2? 3? Oh, 3. Okay. All right. Well, here's the format of the day. You ready? You've heard of a walkathon? You've heard of a bikeathon? Why not a hello? Anybody played in a golfathon or a golf marathon? You want to raise a lot of money for your organization? Here's how you do it. I love these. Why? I don't have to go out and get 140 golfers and charge them $300 to play. All I need is 40 golfers, and they get to play for free. You ready? This is how you do it. You go reserve the golf course for the whole day. You purchase the golf course for the day. It's your course. Nobody's on it but you. Step 1. Step 2, you get these 40 golfers together 2 or 3 months in advance, and you teach them how to raise pledges per hole. just like a walkathon, just like a bikeathon. So they're going to go to their friends and say, hey, give me $1 a hole, give me 50 cents a hole, and, because I'm going to, be in this golfathon. You get the golfers there at 6 a.m. They all get their own cart. Remember, you own the golf course. There's no other golfers. So they get to hit the ball and go, hit the ball and go. They play for 12 hours straight. They will play, on the average, 100 holes of golf in one day. So, but here's the key. If each golfer can go out and raise $25 per hole in pledges, keep in mind they'd have to go to 25 friends and get $1 a hole. Maybe 50 friends and get 50 cents a hole. They're going to go to their neighbors and their colleagues, and they're going to go to their friends and their relatives, and they're going to say, give me $1 a hole. I'm going to play 100 holes of golf. If one golfer raises $25 per hole and plays 100 holes of golf, how much has that one golfer raised that day? Hello? $2,500. And if you have 40 golfers that day, how much have you raised? $100,000. You still get sponsors. Ideally, you get a sponsor to underwrite the golf course, and you still get gifts and prizes. I will warn you, the award ceremony is not as fun. There's going to be some things that you need. Lots of Bengay, jacuzzis, massage tables, and younger golfers that can do it. Good point. But gang, this is being done all over the country. I've seen organizations raise $600,000, $250,000 with 40 golfers. I did this for the Boy Scouts in Las Vegas. They only had 18 golfers, and they raised $56,000. So now I'm not here to say change what you're doing completely. I'm here to suggest maybe you have 2 events. If you've got your regular shotgun scramble, you've got your certain golfers that love that, keep it going. But maybe 6 months later, do a golfathon, do a pro-am, celebrity am. These are people that like to do something different and that don't like the regular scramble. They like pro-ams and celebrity ams. So you can find a whole new group of golfers. You're not taking away from what you're already doing. Just a thought, just a suggestion. Make sense? So people ask me about handicapping. What is handicapping? How does that work? Well, the simple definition of handicapping is to simply level out the playing field. See, this is what happens. Crummy golfers who don't golf very often, they say, well, this is a great tournament, but you know what? I can't win. Why do I even want to try? Why do I want to play in this golf tournament? Well, that's why we have handicapping, to give everyone the opportunity to feel like they have a chance to win. So how do you handicap your golf tournament? There's several ways to do it. You've all heard of the USGA, the United States Golf Association. They have a handicapping system. And simply what that means is they take your average score and they give you a number. So for example, if you shoot on the average an 80 and par 72, you're 8 strokes over par, you're going to be an 8. If you shoot on the average a 90, that's 18 strokes over par, you're going to be an 18. If you shoot 100, you're going to be a 28. But you get this little card that tells people what type of golfer you are, okay? So that you can say, hey, I'm an 8, or I'm a 20, or I'm a 15, or whatever. And this gives people a feel of what type of golfer you are. And then you can break your tournament up into different divisions, an A flight for the really good golfers, B flight for the average golfers, C flight for the not so average, and the D flight for the really crummy guys, right? This way you give everyone a chance to win. So that's what handicapping is about. The problem with that system is 90% of golfers on this earth do not have a handicap. Who in this room has an official USGA index? It is less than 10% of golfers. Why? Well, number one, you got to count all your strokes, which could eliminate a few people in here. you got to keep track, you got to write it down, you got to enter it, you got to belong to a club. So it's very difficult to keep up that handicap. But if you belong to a club or play on a regular basis, most guys have that, gals have that. But if you don't, then you just maybe what you had to ask is what's your average score?
You don't necessarily have to belong to a club.
Yeah, nowadays they write
That does it now, you can pay like $35 a year.
online and enter in your scores. That's exactly right.
Yeah,
Yes,
but
sir.
I think the handicap is not the average score, the average of the last test best round.
That's a very good point. They don't take scores from 100 years ago. They take your last 20 and they yeah, your best last, yeah, and they give you about 80% of that. But I didn't want to get into all the details. But yeah, you're right. You're 100% correct. But that's how they do it. And so we need to be aware of that. So we want to level out our playing field. But there's other ways to level out the playing field. There's all types of scoring systems. There's the Callaway system. There's Chicago system. There's the Schneid system. There's several ways that you can score your event to eliminate some of the bad scores, just count the good scores, and make everyone feel like they got a chance to win. But here's the key, gang. Your job is to make everyone feel like they have a chance to win. That's really your job. Because if people have a chance to win, they're going to sign up and they're going to play over and over again. And really, your job is to make more winners, to be honest with you. The more winners you have, the more people are coming back, right? So you want to give out as many trophies and awards as you can. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, seventh, eighth, first division, second division. I love that one guy who walks away with his trophy. He goes, I cannot wait to come back next year. I just got 7th place in Flight E, and I'm going to come back and defend my title for next year. And that's what golfers do. We're crazy. So you want to make as many winners as possible to get them coming back year after year. Agreed? So all boils down to scoring and handicapping. So just be aware and pick the right one. Whether you want more participation, more income, pick the right format. Okay, games and contests. All right. Why should we have games and contests? How many games and contests should we have? And is too many too many? So, first of all, what's the purpose? I love games and contests. Why? Because most of the events, typical shotgun scramble, typical golfer, golfs 5 times a year, not really that great, but it's that one game that they win, that they remember, that closest to the pin, that long drive, that putting contest. However, like I said, however they can be a winner. So it builds memories for your event. Number 2, it's excitement. When guys get around and they're going, okay, let's beat the pro on this one, and let's pay an extra $5, and let's see if we can hit the farthest. It just gets more excitement going on at your event. Winners, we talked about that. The more contests you have, the more winners you have, and the more winners you have, the more golfers you have coming back year after year. And then finally, money. The more games you have, the right kind of games you have, the more money you can make. Closest to the pin, long drives, they're all fun, but they're really not money-making games. So we need to be thinking about the different types of money-making games available, okay? So for example, that closest to the pin, fun, great, you give them a sleeve of balls, what would you do? Let's make a couple extra grand with that closest to the pin. We turn it into, for example, a gambling hole, all right? You draw a chalk circle about 20 feet around the pin. You put a volunteer on the tee box. The golfers come through, and the volunteer says, hey, Mr. Golfer, are you feeling lucky? You want to double your money. All you got to do is hit that little tiny white ball in that big old huge circle down there. And I'll double your money. If you give me 10, I'm going to give you 20. If you give me 20, I'm going to give you 40. Let me tell you, gang, this is like printing free money. Amateurs cannot hit the ball straight under pressure to save their lives. You'll make a ton of money. Gambling hole instead of close to the pin. Beat the pro. I love Beat the Pro, or actually I like Pay the Pro better, because you put a golf pro on the tee box and your golfers come up and pay the pro to hit the ball. You're making money, the pro makes a few bucks, and the golfers are happy because that pro's hitting it 400 yards down the middle of the fairway. Pay the pro. There's so many games out there. Anybody seen the Cannon gun? yet? No? The cannon gun is this cannon that shoots a golf ball 300 yards. Golfers pay that. It's cool. It's cool to shoot a cannon on the golf course. They got the drone drop. Anybody seen the drone drop? Where you pay the drone and the ball, I've seen 2 types of drone drops, where they drop a bunch of balls, but they also drop one. So this drone gets up, you get to actually control it, takes the drone right over the green, drops the ball close to the pin. Love it. I mean, gang, there's so many out there, you get confused, but you can have too many. And then it gets back to what's the purpose. If you're just out there to have a great time, who cares? Let's just have fun, make a bunch of money, then have as many games contests as you want. But the more serious your competition is, the less games that you want to have. Prime example is mulligans. Who sells mulligans? Okay? Mulligans, right? So mulligans is simply buying a chance to do it over. It's great, but if a team is buying 100 mulligans, they're not only buying the tournament, but it slows things down. But when you're selling mulligans, let me just tell you the mistake that you're all making right now. And it looks something like this. You're selling mulligans for $5, right? And that guy walks up to registration and it's 1 for $5 or 3 for $10, right? And so you sell these 3 mulligans, and what do you give them? This little tiny red ticket, right? It's a mulligan ticket, right? Goes in their pocket. Okay, that's what happens at registration. Let me tell you what happens on the golf course. So the guy buys 2 mulligans, right? He flubs up on hole number 1. Oh, I think I'll buy or use a mulligan. He goes to the second hole. He flubs up. Oh, I bought a mulligan. I'm going to buy another mulligan. He goes to the third hole. He flubs up. You know, I can't remember how many mulligans I bought. How many did we use? Oh, well, let's go ahead and use another one. I don't want it to get outside this room. Golfers are cheaters. They will use more mulligans than they buy. I've seen it with my own eyes on the other teams. So, how do we stop that? Simple. Don't give them this little red raffle ticket they're going to put in their pocket. Who's going to hold them accountable? Their partners? Give them a balloon. They buy a mulligan, they get a balloon. They buy 3 mulligans, they tie them to their cart. When they use the mulligan, they got to pop it. There's no issue how many they bought, how many they used, but here's the secret. You ready? You go around in the back 9 and sell emergency mulligans. And they're not $5 anymore. You can see who has them, who doesn't have them, and who needs them. They'll buy them like hotcakes. Accept credit cards, by the way. But one thing I want to say, gang, is do not nickel and dime your golfers. Do not ask for $5 here, $10 here, another $10 there. Golfers do not carry cash. Golfers carry credit cards. So 1, make sure you have a swiper wherever you go. But 2, what I like to suggest is bundling. Bundling. I've seen it sold all over. It's called a super ticket. So instead of asking for mulligans at this thing and sell some raffle tickets here, just sell a super ticket. It's like $40. $40, they get 3 mulligans, they get a putting contest, they get to beat the pro, and they get 5 raffle tickets. About the whole shebang for $40. They do it online in advance with a credit card or registration with a credit card. Everyone buys it clean, no collecting nickels and dimes throughout the event. Make sense?
So do you suggest doing that rather than whatever is included individually, or give like both options?
Well, I'd like to see it all included, so they're not feeling like they're getting asked for money every hole. Right. Give them some fun things to do. Every once in a while you can say, hey, additional, you want this addition, you want to hit from the red tees, $5 extra. You want to hit from the center of the fairway, $10. I mean, you can do that stuff, but try to get most of it already in advance, so you're not dealing with a bunch of cash and a bunch of volunteers and so forth. Make sense? Okay. Hole number 8, selling sponsors. I normally like to wait till the second half, but I'm going to give you a bonus today. We're going to talk about this now. Because sponsors are the most important thing of your golf tournament. Sponsors are the profit. The more sponsors you have, the more money you're going to make, pure and simple. You're not going to make a lot of money with just golfers and just whole signs. I can tell you right now. Oh, you'll make your $5,000 to $10,000, which is great, nothing wrong with that. But if you want to raise the big money, it's all about the sponsors. And the problem that most nonprofits are having is they're not selling real sponsorships. And you're guilty. And you know exactly what it looks like. It's on your brochure. For $500, you get a whole sign, you get a mention in the program, your name on the website, and you're going to reach 144 people. Please don't take this personal. The only person that looks at your whole sign is the guy who bought it. You're not looking, oh, sorry, well, I'll get to you later. You're not reaching 144 people, let alone getting your value of $500. Please don't take me wrong. I'll sell whole signs for $500 all day long. But that's not a real sponsorship, gang. Let's be honest, it's a donation. And you can still go out and get those donations and go get them as much as you can. But that's not the real money we're talking about in sponsorship, okay? So how do we sell real sponsors for big money? Very simple. What is a sponsorship? A sponsorship, yes, it's a program to support what you're doing, but it's exposure for the company. The more exposure for the company, the more money they're going to give you. So stop thinking about your golf tournament as a one-day outing, that you're reaching 144 people. If you continue to think that way, your sponsors are going to stay small. If you look at your golf tournament as a marketing tool, a marketing program that starts 2 months in advance and lasts 1 month after and reaches not just 144, but 5,000 to 10,000 people through your marketing, advertising, and PR, now you've got something worth selling. Does that make sense? So the concept is this: turn your golf tournament into a marketing tool for companies, offering them return on investment. See, if they give you $1, real companies with real marketing departments, if they give you $1, they want $4 in return. If they're just giving you $1 as a donation, that's all you're going to get. But if you give them a return on investment, not only are they going to love you, but they're going to come back next year and give you more money. So, what are the steps in selling sponsorship? Number one, it starts with your demographics. Now remember, we're turning our event into a marketing tool. It's not a one-day event with 144 people. It's a 3-month marketing campaign. The demographics are not just the golfers that day. It's the people you're reaching with your marketing, your advertising, and PR. You just don't email 144 people and tell them about your golf tournament. You email 5,000 people and tell them about your golf tournament, right? You put on your website, how many people are coming to your website? You get a PSA on your on the radio station, how many people are they reaching and what types of people? So it starts with a demographic survey. Now, if you've never put on a golf tournament before, you know who's on your committee, you know what types of people you're reaching, you know what industries they're, do some ballpark, demographics. You know what sponsors love to see? Where do they live? What do they buy? How much money they make? That's what sponsors want to see. That's what real companies want to see. So starts with your demographics. Put together a demographic study saying in our marketing efforts for our golf tournament, we're reaching this type of people, this many times, and this is the impressions you're going to get. Now you got my attention because you're reaching my customers. So I'm excited to consider giving you more money. Number two, sponsorship packages that work. A whole sign, the guy is not going to go buy a house because he saw a whole sign. He's not going to go buy a brand new car because he saw a whole sign. There's got to be more to it. Whole signs are important, Bob. Very important. But you need more in that sponsorship package. So take a serious look. What's in your sponsorship packages? Drives me crazy when I see them on a brochure or on the website. You're going to get a whole sign, you're going to get a mention on the award ceremony, and we want $1,500. For what? Show me the return. Show me some customers. So here's some things that you may want to consider putting in your sponsorship packages. A display table with sampling. Sampling. A coupon for free stuff in the goodie bag. I hate goodie bags too, but golfers love them with the right stuff. Not calendars and pins. I already have enough logoed pins. We'll talk about that in a minute. A blast email to 10,000 potential customers promoting me. A spot on the radio station, an ad in the magazine. Come to my office and get a discount on playing in the tournament. Come to my office, register for the tournament, and win a putter. Yes, sir.
Have any of your participants in the past boosted aggressively about how many email addresses in their CRM, in their database? Because I'm just thinking, us for alumni, what we do, we have like 40,000, right? Is that something aggressive enough to, or should we say it?
Absolutely.
I like what you're talking about. A sponsor is different than a donation. So look at the sign as a donation, right? But should we say, hey, we're reaching out to 40,000 plus in our email campaign?
And this is the demographics,
Right.
and this is what they buy, and they like new cars, and they like new laptops.
So that's the platinum sponsor, and we could say, but that verbiage, is it something that
Absolutely. If you're allowed to, you know.
Survey then, that's what I think.
Yeah, you do a survey, you get the,
I'm sorry, only because I'm a marketing.
right.
If you survey those 40,000 in
Right.
your email, and you can just do a regular email survey, you can even try to Google something, you can ask about their likes, wants, personal, professional.
Right.
And whatever answers you get, they're called survey buttons. Those are the words that you're gonna use when you're marketing to these potential sponsors.
I thought you were going to Privacy Act or something, or like permissions, but got it.
We'll chat
Got it.
Well,
okay.
yeah, and you will not give them their email, but you will tell them who they are and what they do and what they make.
In
and
this case, it's
where they live.
alumni, right?
Yeah,
It's
which
all,
is
we're reaching with what we've got.
huge demographic.
Right.
Their behalf.
Right.
You're not gonna share the list.
If I'm
No,
in,
no,
Yeah,
no.
you would send it.
I'm saying it from a promoting standpoint by selling the platinum at 25,000.
and
right?
I'm
What
an,
do you get?
And I'm an investment banker, and I know that I can reach
40,000
40,000 people with,
That's
you
a
know,
value.
good, yeah, absolutely, 100%. So those are the type of things. You all have something. Get your people together and think about what is it you have. Do you have a relationship with a radio station? Do you have a relationship with a trade association, with a magazine, newsletters? Do you have a database of emails? What is it that you have to offer? Let me give you an example. So I produced a golf tournament for realtors, and just realtors. And so we knew that we were going to not only reach 10,000 realtors in our area, or in the areas that we did it, we're also going to have 140 realtors playing in the tournament. So we went to Cadillac and we said, would you like to be the title sponsor? And this is what we're going to offer you. Number one, your name, the Cadillac Realtors Golf Tour, is going to be on every brochure, every advertising, every billboard, every article. Cadillac, title in the name. Two, we're going to promote the fact that if you go to Cadillac dealer anywhere in town to sign up for our golf tournament, you're going to get a 50% discount. So there's a motivation for golfers to go there versus signing up with us online. So it's $350 online to play in this tournament. But if you went into a Cadillac dealership, it was only $150. Then you're going to see the car, and then you get a putting contest. They give you a sleeve of balls. Then we said, come on out to the tournament 30 minutes early. If you test drive a Cadillac, we're going to give you a box of Callaway golf balls. Everyone did it. Who doesn't want a box of golf balls? Everyone jumped in a car, drove it around the block. We did blast emails to 10,000 realtors on a regular basis. We advertised in a trade magazine that just went to realtors. And then after the event, we gave Cadillac a list of 5,000 realtors that they could additionally do marketing and promotion afterwards. So they spent $50,000 to be the title sponsor because they sold Cadillacs. That's what your sponsors are looking for. How are you going to help sell their product? How are you going to help me get more business? So you want to offer a return on investment. Make sense? So create packages that offer an ROI. Now you're saying, well, Phil, how much? How much do we charge for a sponsorship package? I can't tell you that because it's about who you're reaching and how. And are they going to get business? The average, I can tell the average whole sponsor is 1,000, the average major sponsor is 5, the average title sponsor is 15, the average presenting sponsor is 10. That's the average.
So I have a quick question.
Yes.
Did you include a foursome or a twosome in those packages?
Depending-
Some maybe like they're like, hey, I want that, but I'm not gonna golf, you know.
First of
rather
all,
get the other
depending
goodies
on the
out there.
package, I wouldn't do it for a $500 package or 1,000, but I definitely would do one for a 5,000, two for a 10,000, 3 foursomes for a 15. Include that. They can do with what they want. If they want to give it back to the organization that you can resell it or give it away to a charity, that's fine. But I would definitely include that because that's value to them. So absolutely. But I'll give you a little example of return on investment. Twice, but this one time, I sold $1 million sponsorship. And you know how many golfers we had? 40. How did I get $1 million for 40 golfers? Guess who the 40 golfers were? CEOs of Fortune 500 companies. It was an IT company out of India called iGate. It gave us $1 million. We brought in top CEOs, American Express, Dillard's. All they needed is, their average contract was $20 million. All they needed was one customer to justify that $1 million. You follow me? So be thinking about, okay, a car dealer, if a car dealer sells one car to your audience, what's their return? $2,500 maybe, right? So if they can sell 3 cars, guess what? They're going to make $7,500. It's worth them paying you $1,500 or $2,500, whatever it is. Make sense? So think of it in terms of return on investment. So number 1, put your demographic study together of who you're reaching through your marketing tool, your golf tournament. Number 2, put together packages that work. All right? And number 3, can anybody give me the number 1 reason a sponsor is going to sponsor your golf tournament? Anybody? Yes. Pardon me? Well, that's a really, really good reason, but it's not the number 1. They believe in you is very important, but not number 1.
Recognition?
Recognition is great. That's also a great one. The reason, write this down, pay attention. The reason a company is going to sponsor your event is because they know you. They have a relationship with you. Yes, all that stuff's great. Exposure, recognition, ROI. But the really reason, gang, they're going to do it is they know you. So pull your committees together, pull your board of directors together, have everyone bring their accounts payable. There's a list of all the companies that you spend money with already. Your car leasing company, your office building, your accountant, your lawyer, they're all potential sponsors. They know you. You spend money with them. It's their turn. Give them an ROI, and they'll buy big sponsorship packages with you. Make sense? All right, gang, we're going to take a little break. Don't get up yet. And we're going to take a quick 10, 15-minute break. But before the break, I want you to know that we have sponsors, and I have offered them a return on investment. So I'm giving them value by allowing them 1 minute of your time to tell you about who they are so that you can go see them during the break and see if it works for your tournament. So with that, and then we'll take a break. So with that, Bob, tell them about you and what you're doing.
Hi, Bob Stein with my company's Party Shots. 2 things that we're all about sponsorships. We do the foursome photo sponsors where you take the foursome pictures, you go home with them all. We've done 500 at one event several times, and nothing is better than they're going to be looking at your message every day. So there's no better value for your sponsor dollar. than the mug, and then we have several other different items to go with it. Plus, we've gotten very big into signage now. 2 years ago, this sign would have cost me $80, and I would have had to sell it for over $100. This year, with the new guy I'm working with, this sign, 36 by 48, is $60. T-signs, 18 by 24, I'm selling for $10. The 24 by 36 is $45. So,
And did you make us a mug?
and yes, everybody who I took the picture, I'll have their mugs out on the table in a couple of minutes. Please see me during the break to get the picture taken, because I'm going to be booking out of here right after Phil finishes.
And here's the bad news. I literally think of Bob every day of the year, 365 a year, because of the mug that he made me 3 years ago.
They're going to remember.
I'll never forget you, Bob.
Now, they remember, you know, they go to 10 outings a year, 5 outings a year. Your outing with the mug, that's the one they are thinking about.
That's exactly right.
And 15 seconds. 4 times a year, somebody comes up to me. I was having my coffee this morning. I saw I was wearing the same shirt. I had to change. And that's how I know. That's how I know they're being used. So,
Exactly right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Okay, Mary, I'm tired of the same old golf hats. I've got 100. Tell us what you can give us for our golf tournament that's better than a golf hat.
Fabulous hats under the Wallery brand. This is our Carcella line, because inside every band is a magnet. And what can you do with that magnet? You can customize your events or your golf club by sending us artwork, probably not 6 months in advance, but 2 months in advance will be good. And once you approve the artwork, we have the emblems made and the magnets, and then they will come with the hats. What's lovely about all of our Carcella hats is you can pack them, you can curl them up, and guess what? They pop back up into shape. They're made out of fabrics that are approved by the Skin Cancer Foundation to be UPF 50 or UPF 30. And golf is a game where people are out there for 4 to 6 hours, unless they're doing the golf-a-thon. They're in the sun way too long. They don't reapply suntan lotion, so you should be protecting your ears, your nose, and your eyes, and your lips even, but from skin cancer. So it's a time where you're having too much fun. You're out on a really hot day. You're always, most of the time you're playing in sun. You need to protect your head and your face. And Wallaroo hats have been doing that for 21 years. So they're a great product. We do a lot with golf courses. We do a lot with events, and they're at a good price point for both. They will, all of our hats, not just the Carcella brand, we have hats that go from like a $21 wholesale up to a $34 wholesale.
Stop by and see Mary during the break. Great stuff. Rich, you've got an exciting table back there. Tell us what you do.
Around with Lead Fundraising Solutions, thank you. I can take hours to tell you what we do. We work primarily with golf events. That's our signature program. We do everything that you need from soup to nuts with all your program packages, your hole-in-ones, your longest drives, prize packages. But I want to hit on 2 things that Phil mentioned where I think we can really help you where nobody else can. The first, maybe you need something to spice up your tournament, and your tournament's next week. We have programs where we will come in and work with you on course to help your event and fundraising. We take care of it. We're not taxing your resources, your time, your materials. We handle it for you, and there's different ways we revenue share or provide things for you. Sponsors are what I really want to talk to you about because of our program with the Elite Marketing Program. We talked about different technology and ROI for your sponsors. How would you like to tell your sponsors that today they can reach 2 million golfers? How's that for a demographic? Every event we do nationwide, and we did 20,000 golf events last year. We partner exclusively, as you see on my sheets, with the NFL, Major League Baseball, American Cancer Society, you name it, we're working their golf events with them. PGA. We have a marketing virtual gift bag we give out to every golfer at every event that we do nationwide, including specializing it for your tournament. So we get your sponsors into that gift bag that you're giving them, along with the signs and everything else that you may be doing. They share that virally with their family, their friends, whatever. So as Phil said, how many golfers do those 144 reach? get that out there as many people as they can. So now they're reaching your sponsors to give them local business to get into their business, or we link everything. It's like my golf game going down. We also link right to their website, besides promoting what they want their message to be that day. We also have a hero virtual gift bag. We do a hero day out on our courses nationwide to support 8 501c3s for veterans and first responders. We will put your sponsors into that gift bag. They're there for a year, no charge. Whatever you charge your sponsors is your money. We don't touch it. But they will be in there for a year as a bonus and added value for being a sponsor for your tournament. And again, they're now reaching over 2 million golfers. It's segregated by state, or they can go into the national tab. They can change their message or their ad anytime throughout the year to coincide with their marketing program. Phil, give me a high sign when I'm at 59 seconds, please. So, I'd love to talk to you more about our programs for golf. I have several examples here of what we do. I've worked golf tournaments here at Wild Turkey with less than 40 golfers. I've worked tournaments for Mike Tice, where he's making over $250,000 and has NFL players working with the foursomes, as Bill said. I am working with the NFL alumni in August with their event. Derek Faulkner is the president. He will have an NFL Hall of Famer and or retiree playing with every foursome. He has every one of our programs in his event. I'm probably up for 60 seconds. Please see me more. I'd like to fill you in, especially about the gift bag. And oh yes, we do aggregate those emails. How's that for another return for your sponsor, for their investment, for helping your tournament? Thank you.
Thanks, Rich. And Mel, tell us about Dixon.
Yes, so at Dixon Golf, at the base, we are producers of high-performance, eco-friendly golf balls. We are a green company. Ever since we started producing golf balls, we've expanded because we work with charity events, golf outings like you guys are hosting, and we've really built a really cool platform and a cool place where you guys can come and have everything covered from day one to day of. What I mean by that is that we have a great platform called Charity Golf Today that helps you stay organized. It's our we call it our one-stop shop. It includes the store for any of your needs that you might have on the day of, whether it's for custom products, signs, insurance products, things of the sorts. It's also a great educational tool. So some of the stuff that we hear from Phil today, you can have little videos that remind you of those things that are very specific on some subjects, how to create your committee, how to price your tournament, how to sell sponsorships. We can teach your people in your committee how to go out and sell those sponsorships. Not everybody is a salesperson, especially when they're volunteers, right? We learned that before. So great resources. We're also expanding into some live scoring for your event, so anybody at any course will be able to jump into the app, have live scoring at your event, adds value, makes it fun. We can also help with supporting on day of outings, so we have some fun on-course games, some fun shootouts, things to have you guys raise money. Most of the stuff that we do is actually at no cost. The things that do have a cost, like some custom products, obviously, things like that, we will work with you to try and transfer that into sponsorship. So we're here to listen, we're here to help, and we're here to make it easier with this platform, make life easy for you, save you time, and hopefully raise a lot more money. So come see us and we'll chat.
Thanks, Mel. Okay, stop by and see them during the break. We're going to take a break, but wait, before you go, two things. We are going to cover, when you get back, how to fill your field with golfers, guaranteed. How to get gifts and prizes paid for by somebody else. How to double the revenue for your award ceremony and your auction. We're going to talk about how to evaluate your tournament and how to have people coming back next year just like you did this year. So, point being, you're not allowed to leave. Take 10 minutes, visit the vendors, go to the restroom. We'll see you in a bit. Ready? Break. Okay, everybody, the vendors will be here after the seminar too. So grab a seat. and get
Stay
rolling.
tuned. The broadcast will begin shortly.
Okay, we are now on hole number 9. We're just about to make the turn, and we're going to get into some important stuff. So number 9, marketing and promotion. Should we market and promote our event? If so, how do we do that? And how much money should we spend in marketing and promotion? Well, number 1, we definitely need to market and promote. Number 2, we do not need to spend a lot of money. Number 3, we need to target market. So many times we think we need to make brochures and then just put them out in the grocery store, put them at the golf course. And I'm not saying that hurts, but I think it's kind of a waste of money. So I want you to think about in your marketing and in your promotion to target market. Focus on specific groups. Now, it goes without saying we need to show that we're a first-class event. With technology, we're able to show our event in a much better light than we have in the past. In the old days, we'd get a black and white flyer. It'll all be word of mouth. But nowadays, we can show that we've got a first-class event. We do that by creating a nice website for our event. If you do not have a website, I think you need to have one. The website allows you to show who you are, tell your story, show all the benefits. It also allows you to have online registration. It allows you to promote sponsors, have links, have videos. So starts with a website. Show first class. Put on a first class event with a first class facility, nice golf course, first class goodie bags, show what kind of food you're going to offer. Make sure that everyone feels like they're playing in a first class golf tournament. Target market. Focus on specific groups. You can mass market, but it's a waste of time and money. I want to really encourage you to think about picking out an industry or two to focus on. Now you're saying, well, Phil, we're a nonprofit, we help everyone. I understand that. But for your golf tournament, get specific. And you're saying, well, who do we get specific with? Look at who you already have contacts with. Look at your board. Look at your committee. Who do they know? Who are they involved in? Maybe somebody on your committee is in the construction industry. Well, focus on the construction industry. Maybe somebody's in finance or banking. Focus on that. Maybe someone's in the medical field. This way you can get your arms around a specific industry, demographics. We talked earlier about the importance of the demographics of your marketing and who you're playing, who's playing in your event and who you're reaching. This allows you to do that. So let's say you're in construction. It allows you to partner up with the Construction Association. It allows you to buy lists of construction companies. It allows you to partner with newsletters and magazines in that industry and focus on your marketing. Only you know what industry you're best focused on, but pick that industry and go after it, because now what you can claim in your event is you're reaching certain types of people, and you've got certain types of people which will allow you to get more specific type sponsors who want to reach those people. So target and market your efforts. Promotion and marketing. Someone asked earlier if promotion and marketing will help us get golfers and sponsors. Ideally, it shouldn't have to. Ideally, you're getting your golfers and your sponsors way in advance of your promotion and marketing. Not to say that you can't be doing blast emails and have a website presence and obviously social media. But if you're going to be doing radio or television, then you need to do that the last couple of months, and you should already be pretty much sold out by then, because golfers typically don't sign up when they hear an ad on the radio station. Although, it does give your organization credibility and gives your sponsors more exposure. We talked about the exposure and the return of investment for your sponsors, so media coverage is good. I would really encourage you to think about trying to approach a radio station and or a television station to be your media partner that'll give you promotion, give you marketing in exchange for exposure. Again, giving more value and exposure to your sponsors. But marketing and promotion is very important. I just don't think you need to spend a lot of money doing that because mainly it's about relationships. Hole number 10, recruiting golfers. One of the most important part of this session is filling your field with golfers. As I mentioned earlier, the average tournament in the United States only has 72 golfers. That's half sold out. I'm going to give you a formula today that'll guarantee a sellout if you follow these steps. But we first have to ask ourselves, what are golfers looking for? Why do they even participate in golf tournaments? We've done tons of studies, tons of research to find out why golfers are playing, and here's some of the reasons. Number one, the golf course. We talked about it. They want a nice golf course, so you need to focus on getting a great golf course. Number two, the food and the beverage. You ever notice in any tournament they say lunch, but they never say what's for lunch? Or they say award ceremony, dinner, but they never say what's for dinner. It's an extra bonus when I know that I'm going to go get a prime rib or some lobster or whatever the case may be. So promote the food. Guys love that. The tea package. You ever notice that tournaments never talk about their tea package? Why is that? Because they usually don't get those items till the very last minute. So if you can get those items early, we're going to talk about how to get them. Now I know in a goodie bag, I'm getting a shirt and a hat and a ball and some gloves. I'm excited about that tea package. So promote that if you can. And then value. We talked about that earlier. What our golfers are looking for is value, getting more than they pay for. So you need all these ingredients. You need the good charity, the good cause, a reason why you're raising the money, because that also pushes some buttons and pulls some heartstrings. But the number one reason that a golfer is going to participate in your event is because, write this down, a friend asks them. That's the reason, gang. I mean, yes, you can have the greatest event in the world promoted on national television, but they're not going to sign up unless their buddy's playing. So focus on relationships. It's buddies asking buddies. Now I'm going to give you a formula that'll guarantee a sellout right now if you follow this. You ready? A sellout is 144. Am I correct? We agree. That's 36 teams, right? We talked earlier about the size of your committee. It needs to be 9 people. In the very beginning stages, you need all the things we talked about, a good cause, a good golf course, good food, good value, good tea package. But it's friends asking friends. 9 people on your committee who commit to getting 4 foursomes and you're sold out. It's that simple. You need 9 people on your committee that commit early on. They're going to go get 4 buddies to go out and get a foursome. The 9-4-4 rule. And you're sold out year after year. You need the foundation. You need the things we talked about. But it's the 9-4-4 rule. The cause, the value, and the relationships. Now, how do we get them coming back year after year after year? You ever notice that we don't even start looking for golfers for the next year until 60 days out? You start with 0. Year after year after year. Is that the same thing for most golf tournaments? You start all over year after year. Why is it that we do that? Why don't we get the golfers early? You've just had a great event. They've all had a wonderful experience. You are fresh on their mind. The tournament's fresh on their mind. Get them now for next year. Sign them up this year for next year. Now, they're not going to pay the full amount. They're not even going to pay 50%, but they might give you a $10 deposit to hold their spot. They're thinking about it. They're going, this is a great event. Register now for $10. We'll give you a sleeve of golf balls and you're in for next year. How great would it be you start promoting your event and you're already 60% sold out? That's how it should be year after year. You're building, not starting over year after year. To keep them coming back, you show them a first-class event. You make sure that they're a winner of some type. You give them good value, and they'll be back year after year. Hole number 11, gifts and prizes. Let me make it clear. Your organization, your event will be judged by the gifts and prizes you give out. Whether you like it or not, if you're going to give out those logoed pins and calendars, that's how you're perceived. Donated plastic tchotchkes, what they call them. I'd rather give really good quality gift items. And here's the concept. We want to create the wow factor. When they get to your tournament, at registration, they look in this bag. I've been to tournaments where I got to a tournament, and in that bag was a pack of gum, a Band-Aid, and a granola bar. I said, how much did I pay for this thing again? I get to other tournaments where I got this duffel bag, this beautiful golf shirt, this hat, these gloves, towel, Titleist golf balls, not Pinnacles, and I said, wow, I got my money's worth right here. This is worth the whole price of the tournament, and that's what you want to create. In that goodie bag is key. What goes in that goodie bag is how you'll be judged. Now you're saying, Phil, we're a small organization. We can't afford to buy this stuff. You know, if we get it donated, we'll be lucky. Get rid of that concept, okay? You've got to be thinking about you're going to give out good quality stuff. So how do you get it? Yeah, it'd be great if you got it donated, but it's very rare to get 144 beautiful, high-quality golf shirts with your logo right here donated. That's hard to come by. So why don't we get it paid for? It works very simple. This is the formula. Put an item into every sponsorship package. Here's how it works. So for example, let's just say right now you're selling your title sponsorship for $5,000. Okay? You go out and you get some shirts. Beautiful golf shirt for 25 bucks. It normally retails for 75, but you get it from one of our GTA vendors and they give you wholesale pricing. So let's say you go out and get 100 shirts, all right? That's 25 bucks a shirt, that's $2,500. Include that $2,500 in the title sponsor package that was $5,000. So now the title sponsorship package is $7,500. But you tell the sponsor you're getting your logo right here on this beautiful $75 golf shirt. You with me? They just paid for your shirt. They would be much more excited to pay you $7,500 knowing that everyone's going to get a quality golf shirt that with their logo right there that they're going to remember you by and them. Make sense? Just paid for your shirts. Take that same concept with every package. So maybe the presenting sponsor, they get their logo on the golf balls. Golf balls are going to cost you $1,200 bucks. Throw that in the price. It was $3,000, now it's $4,400. They just paid for your golf balls. Do that with gloves. Do that with towels. Do that. Those are the 5 most popular items: is shirts, hats, balls, gloves, and towels. Now, there's other great, cool stuff out there. Don't be limited. I'm just telling you that's what golfers like, and that's what's most popular. But you get your gifts and prizes paid for by the sponsors. Very simple. All right, number 12, silent and live auctions. Golf goes great with auctions. You've been to golf tournaments with auctions. They just kind of go hand in hand. The problem is most auctions are not done properly. You get to a golf tournament, there's a table in the back with a few memorabilia. They've got an overpriced item on there, and they say, go and put your name on there, and it was selling for $350, and you're going to bid $360. The cost of the item was $340. You make 10 bucks, the company makes 10 bucks, no money to be made. That's the typical auction. So let's get ahead of it. Auctions are big money if they're done right. Step 1, put together a separate committee that just works on auction items. And they're working on it all year round. Step 2, they're obtaining big ticket items. What I like the best is what we call experiences. Not something that they can buy at Walmart or online. What's an experience? It's It's lunch with a retired football quarterback. It's a golf outing with a politician. It's dinner with a celebrity singer. These are experiences. Find people like that that'll donate their time. You put together a package that says dinner and drinks with so-and-so. These are experiences. They're worth big money to somebody. Okay? Not saying don't get the sports memorabilia and the stereos and the TVs. Get those if you can, but experiences are what sells best. Now, here's the magic. The auction, put it online way in advance, 2 or 3 months in advance, pictures, descriptions, and open it up to everybody. See, we think auctions are just available to the golfers that show up. Well, they rarely bring their checkbook. They're really excited after they just spent money playing in your tournament. But now you're opening up your auction to the world. You can do auctions online. You can promote it to your 40,000 alumni group and say, buy dinner with so-and-so, starting bid $1,000 bucks. Now you're making money from all over the country. You're getting bids on it early. And you have the finals at the golf tournament. You hire a live auctioneer to really get the extra money, the extra punch. Don't auction off all the items on live. Just do 4 or 5 of the big ones, and you will make mega dollars done properly. Make sense? Big items, online, promote in advance, professional auctioneer, getting the big bucks with the grand finale at your event. So that's how auctions are done. Hole number 13, signs and banners. You know, I was joking about hole signs, that no one sees them, but the truth is they're needed. They're a staple in golf tournaments. We need hole signs. But why do we get those little plastic signs on wire? You notice every charity tournament you've ever been to, it's the same hole signs? It's about this big on plastic wires, right? People just see that it's a cheap tournament.
What's the most number of signs that you've seen per hole?
Well, that's a...
Because I would say like 4 would be tops.
Okay.
4 would be too much per
First
hole.
of all, I only like one.
See, so that's 18.
Yeah.
At 150
that's 18.
bucks.
No, not at 115.
At 100
At 1,000. Okay. Here's the problem. If you're going to sell them for 150, you're going to get a bunch of...
Dentist, small.
Yeah,
But-
it's not worth it. Just have them give a donation. You put their name on the website. Thank you very much. It's not worth the sign.
Yeah.
Okay? I like to give people the whole hole. They're going to give me 1,000, 2,500, 5,000. This is your hole. You do with it what you want. You bring out a table. You bring out a tent. You bring out staff. You hand out stuff. You meet people. Okay? We don't need a little hole sign. Don't take it wrong. But the little signs don't do anybody any good. Just have them donate 150. Thank you very much.
So for the golf con, when you have like $25 per hole, and you have, let's say, $1 per 25 per hole, so that's 25 hole sponsors for that hole.
No. They don't get a sign for donating $1 a hole. That's a different type of sponsor. When you do a golf-a-thon or a walk-a-thon or a bike-a-thon, I'm sponsoring you because I support you. I'm giving you $1 a hole. I don't need a sign that says I'm giving you it. Would it be cool if it's a business to put it on the website and put it on a t-shirt? Sure, that's all fine. It's all a bonus. But in reality, if my son came to me and said, Dad, I'm doing a walk-a-thon, can you give me $1 a hole? I don't need my name on a sign for that. That make sense? So we're talking about a different sponsor. We're talking about your hole signs. Do I like mudding it up? No, it looks cheap. It looks like a bunch of people just threw $100 and we got a plastic $25 sign that wasn't worth much. I'd rather bump up that price. I would have a donation. Yeah, here's a donation for $150. You want to give us $150? Thank you. We'll put your name on the website, but not a sign. I'd rather say a whole sign is $2,500. You can bring out a tent. You can do sampling. You can bring out your volunteers. You can do a cannon gun. You can do a Dixon golf. You can do a drone. You can do some activity to make it fun. Now you're getting a little bit more value. You're meeting golfers face to face. You're shaking hands, but make it worth their while. And if you're going to do the soul signs, why do the plastic ones? Do big ones. I'd rather see a sign like this on every hole with a company logo and make them bigger. So make your signs bigger. Anybody ever been to a PGA Tour event? Did you see any plastic signs? I saw one and it said bathrooms. You see billboards, banners, flex banners all over the place, right? Those events look big. Why don't we think about making our events look bigger than they really are? I love a billboard driving up the driveway. Big old billboard with sponsors on it. I love a big old huge backdrop as they get to registration. I like signs big as that, if not bigger, on each hole. You can now buy a stamp for the fairways, like on the football field, how they have a colored stamp. You can put flex banners on the driving range and the putting green. Really looks cool. You can put, they actually have billboards you can put on the cart paths. You had a question, sir? First of all, you need the sponsor committee chairman to be in charge of it. The golf course, in most cases, will help you with that. But that operations manager better make sure that they're in the right place at the right time, because your sponsors want their value. And if they're playing in your tournament, they better see where they're promised they're going to be so that they're not going to come back and complain afterwards. Make sense? Okay. Signs and banners can make your event look bigger than it maybe really is. And here's the magic. Your sponsors will love you for it. People will say, wow, this is a big deal. We need to be a sponsor of this next year. And there'll be bigger, better sponsors for you next year. Signs and banners help you achieve that. Photos and videos. Do not take photos and videos for granted. They are your marketing tool. They are your promotional tool for the future. As I mentioned, I think about Bob every day of the year. I'm not excited about that, but I just do. I have a couple of pictures of foursomes that I have on my wall and a nice plaque. You know, I think about that tournament every day. How would you like your customers thinking about your tournament and your organization every single day? It's done with memorable stuff. The mugs, the photos on the plaques, anything that they're going to use throughout the year is valuable for photos. Nowadays, social media is all about photos and videos. You have some fun photos that you can put on social media, it's going to spread across the world. You take video of your event, you put it on YouTube. So there's so many ways to get exposure for your event, your sponsors, and your organization. You count up the views, you tell your sponsor, I just got you 1 million views from our golf tournament, this little tiny golf tournament that we did. So, great marketing tool. Do not hesitate using a lot of photos, action photos, videos, and put them on websites. All right, hole number 15, the day of operation. You've been working 6 to 8 months, and here's the big day. This is showtime. You must be organized. If you're not, you'll go crazy. So there's several ways to be organized. First of all, I like to have a complete operations manual of that day. Every minute is scheduled. Every sign location, every name of every item on the raffle, the auction, every golfer's name, every hole they're supposed to be on, all the details. And a copy is given to every single volunteer. I actually like to have a walkthrough a week before. I like to bring the whole committee out to the golf course. The golf course, I bet, will buy you lunch, and you walk through every aspect of the event. Then they hand out the operations manual. Then the day of the event, you get out there a couple hours early, you bring all the volunteers together, you make sure they're on the same page, they understand what's going on. I like to put volunteers in a separate colored shirt, at minimum a big badge saying, I'm here to help you. And every aspect of the game will go smooth. Registration is a nightmare if you're not organized. I make sure that everyone's paid in advance. You don't ever want to collect cash if you can help it. Have credit card swipers. And just make sure that your event goes smoothly. Do you know now that there's weather insurance that covers in case it rains? The full amount you're about to... So there's that available. And the key is being organized, making sure everyone's on the same page, because you can have great sponsors, sold out field, but if you're not organized that day, the whole thing falls apart. The award ceremony. Typically people hate the award ceremony because if I didn't win something, I'm grabbing my burger and I'm out of there. I haven't been to one with a lobster. I'm waiting to be invited to that one.
I'll send you the invite.
Okay. Why not consider turning your award ceremony into a party? Having it really be fun. Invite people that didn't play golf. Sell additional tickets. Have entertainment. Have a comedian. Have a magic act. But make the award ceremony something to stay for. Make it a party. Other people will come. They'll hear about it. Look at the benefits. You're selling additional tickets, adding more revenue. You're having more people there for the auction and the raffle items. People will stay, and it just makes the whole evening a lot more fun. Now, you don't want to keep it too long or drag it on. They are tired, but a good 2-hour party is always great. You can have a band there and a dance floor if they want to stay and dance a little bit longer. But turn it into a party, and you'll make a lot more money. But here's a key part of the award ceremony, and please don't leave it short, and that is the appeal. The appeal is so important. The appeal is simply presenting your cause, your organization, and asking for more money. Don't feel guilty about it. They just paid you to play golf. They got their money's worth. Present what you're doing, where their money's going. Who are you helping? What do you help? How are you serving the community? I do like a short video, 2-3 minute video of how it impacts your community. I bring someone up there to give their testimony and how it helped them, pull on some heartstrings, ask for more money. Now, not everyone's going to do it. Put envelopes on the table, give them the opportunity. Someone may be compelled to write you a bigger check. I've seen individuals write checks for $25,000, $30,000 on the spot because it touched their heart and they were excited about it. So don't be afraid to ask for more money. They got their money's worth with the golf. Show what you're doing, show how the money's being spent, and give them that opportunity. Then put your emails in your database and keep in touch with them year after year, or month after month, and let them know what you're doing with their money. Okay, hole number 17, you're done with your event, but now's the time to start building for next year. Rarely do I see organizations doing this, but you need to specifically detailed evaluate your event. I get together a week or two right after the event, ideally at the golf course, have lunch with your committee, and talk about every aspect. Talk about the golf course. Was it good shape? Did they do a good job for us? Were we happy with their services? Did the golfers like it? Talk about the committee. Did everyone do their job? Where can we improve on the committee members? How was our promotion? Did we get enough exposure that we were hoping for? Were the sponsors happy? Did they get the exposure? Golfers, do a survey with the golfers. Find out what they liked, what they didn't like, how you can improve on it. But the key here is evaluating every aspect. Now, we have a total evaluation form called the Tournament Diagnostic, which is in our book, which I think you're going to give them. And it answers all those questions, or gives you the questions to ask your committee on how you did. But very important, do a report, evaluate your event so you can start building on next year, which now we're ready to build on next year. Okay? Now, a couple things to remember. Most tournament organizers, when they're done, they're done. They forget about the tournament for 8 more months, and then 8 months from now, they start all over. They've got no sponsors, no golfers, and they say, hey, let's start planning our golf tournament. I believe you should start right now for next year, or at least the day of your event or the day after, for next year. Start building on what you've already started, okay? Here's a couple things to remember. One, at this year's event, sit down with your sponsors and say, Mr. Sponsor, what do you think? Do you like that banner there? Do you like the logo we put here? Were your people happy? Did you get some customers? Did you meet some people? They're going to say, yes, yes, yes. Great. Let's go ahead and secure your sponsorship now for next year. This way I can promote you all year round. I can put you on our website. I can include you in our monthly newsletters. I can do blast emails. You're going to have a solid spot on our website, but let's secure your spot next year right now so I can give you additional value. We talked about the golfers. Let's get the golfers now. At this year's event, let's say at the award ceremony, did you have a great time? Of course. Do you want to play here again next year? Of course. Great. Sign up now. Give us your $10. We're going to give you a sleeve of balls, and your spot is secured for next year. So start early on next year. Build a database of all the sponsors, all the golfers, all the golfers. See, here's a mistake that we make. We get the person's name and email who secured the foursome, but we don't get the other three. That's 75% of your golfers. Figure out a way to get the email of every single golfer. Put them in your database. Give them an update after your tournament. Thanks for participating. You just entered into a drawing to Hawaii, and this is how much money we made, and this is where it's going. Thank you for your support. The next month, hey, just wanted to remind you the tournament went well. We've already secured Crystal Springs Resort for next year, so be aware it's going to be April 15th. Oh, and the next month, hey, we just got PXG to donate a set of clubs for the winner. In other words, stay in touch with them. Be in front, out of sight, out of mind. So if you're in touch with them on a monthly basis with a monthly newsletter, not selling, but just exposure, letting them know, keeping them up to date, and communicate with what you're doing. Does that make sense? Communicate with your sponsors and your golfers all year round. Now you're set. You're set for next year. You get going 6 months in advance. You got your sponsors lined up. You got your golfers secured, and you're ready to go. Does this make sense? Is this stuff that you could do? Can you try this stuff? You think it'll work?
Yeah, as long as you have 6 to 9 volunteers.
Exactly. All right, so before I wrap up, is there any questions, anything specific about your event, about your organization, anything you're dealing with that we can talk about right now while I'm here? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I was listening to your suggestions about prizes and activities and those sorts of things. Clearly, we have a little gender bend to the men here. Do you have any advice for when you have a huge population of women? Breast cancer survivor fundraisers and things like that you've learned in your experience particularly touch the women's hearts?
Well, let me address that a couple of ways. First of all, let's just be real. The statistics show that majority of golfers are men. But listen, we just had the Women's Club Championship, and they were battling it just as hard as the guys last week. So I understand the passion there. So I would definitely have separate prizes, separate competition, separate divisions for women, for sure. But here's key. This is very important for all of you. I'm glad you brought this up. I would have additional activities for women and men who are not golfers during the tournament. Why can't we do a wine tasting? Why can't we do a fashion show? Why can't we do a spa day on site? Why can't we do a beginner golf lesson? So they can still participate. Maybe it's at a different fee, whatever, but you have 4 or 5 hours to entertain women. But make them feel important, because they're way more important than men, I can assure you. So have activities for them and make them feel special, and separate prizes, separate drawings, and separate activities. That make sense?
I appreciate the help.
Yes.
It's an area that
We absolutely.
kind of stumble through. So.
I get it. Understandable. Yes, sir.
From your experience and a golfer's perspective, hole-in-one cash or a car? Just because my understanding doing that, I found out the cost is whatever, but for a sponsor to be able to absorb that,
right.
What is better, you think, to attract? Is it cash or a car?
Well, to me, for me.
Or ideas how to.
Right. Well, first of all, I think the bigger the better. I would rather say $1 million. And you laugh, but it's easily done. And let me explain. Okay, you want to do $1 million hole-in-one? You think that's going to get some attention? Come to our golf tournament and win $1 million. It's simple. Okay, you do this. During the tournament, everyone's qualifying. The closest to the pin of all the golfers gets a chance to win $1 million. So you only can afford maybe 6 people, maybe 4. It's about $200 to $350 for one shot at $1 million at 180 yards. Okay? So the close to the pin on each hole, the two close to the pin, get to participate in the $1 million shootout at the end. And then you bring back the 4 to 6 golfers, you get all the golfers around them, it's like a stadium, and you make a big deal out of them getting a chance to win that $1 million. So I would much rather see a $1 million hole-in-one, no doubt about it. Secondly, I'd rather see a car, okay? I want to win a nice car, not a Toyota lease. I want a nice Cadillac or a nice Jaguar, something fun. It's just a matter of money. And then thirdly, I want to win $10,000 in a putting contest. Okay? All the people get to qualify for that $10,000, and at the end of the tournament, they come back to win, and they make a 40-foot putt for $10,000. Make sense? Yes, sir.
Problem last year with cars, as the dealer told me at the end, I can't get a car. There's no chips, I can't get a car, so I'm giving you a $20,000 hole-in-one instead of a car. There are no cars.
Well, there is definitely a challenge, but there is money.
Yeah.
And with money comes cars. So you simply say it's not about, he has cars. It's just a matter of money. Insurance covers that car. So he's going to get the money, and you just got to find a guy who gets it, who understands. That makes sense. Any other questions before we wrap up? Yes, ma'am.
So for the, say, the award ceremony, right? I mean, in the past, we've always like included or invited the general public, right? But one thing I always find is that, you know, golfers are tired, they just want to sit down and they don't want to network, right? Or they just don't want to, they kind of just sit down and hone on with their foursome. I mean, what do you suggest, like, I don't know, what could be the message, like, to get, yeah, you can get more people there, but if they see from coming to other events that golfers are just sitting their ass down and enjoying a hamburger, like,
We're talking
what's
about
the incentive there?
building your tournament as a networking event. And if the 4 golfers are just going to sit by themselves, there's no networking going on. So what does that mean? We have to build networking into the event. So I don't care if you put a sticker on someone's back with where they're from, go find out where someone's from, and we're going to put you in a drawing for a $500 cash bonus. In other words, do a mixer. You know, you from the chamber, there's 100 mixers. So create mixers that causes people to go shake hands with somebody else. In fact, in the punch bowl, put in some Red Bull so they're not so tired. And get them moving. Put in a comedian, put in some music, get them networking, because that exchange business cards, you know, that's what some events are about, is the networking, and it's very valuable to promote it that way. Make sense? Okay, let me, just before I wrap up, let me just tell you again who we are, the GTAA. We do seminars. In fact, we've done over 400 seminars, but in the last 2 years, 0. So this is the first one. Thank you, ladies, for bringing us back. It's an honor to be able to do this. We do free seminars. If you look on our website, we have tons of articles of every topic. We have a YouTube channel called the Golf Tournament Channel with this will be on it, as well as tons of other videos with anything you want to know about. We also have a certification program. You have just gone through the certification training. If you want to become a certified golf tournament planner with this beautiful emblem on your website and your card, all you got to do is take a test. We have a small testing fee, and you'll get an email from me, but you can become a certified planner. What does this do? It tells people you know what you're doing. It tells people that you went to the GTA seminar and you understand the big picture, and it gives you credibility. Whether it's in your job as a volunteer or with a sponsor, it gives you a little credibility. So I just want to be aware of that. Now, the good news is we've got a new book out, updated, called How to Produce a Successful Golf Tournament. It's everything we talked about today and more. There's a lot more stuff. It has detailed timelines, the tournament evaluation we talked about, budgets, sponsorship packages. And here's the good news. Crystal Springs is giving every one of you this $20 value. Thank you for Crystal Springs. So these will be available to you. But I also have our new book. It's, you know, I talked about formats, games, and contests. This book that we just wrote this year, 400 games, contests, formats, scoring methods, ways to make money. 400. Has everything from skins games to scrambles to night golf, whatever you want, it's in here. So I've got a few of these available for $10. If you want a copy, let me know, and we can have those. Also, for free, if you want, if anybody, we didn't talk about night golf, but night golf is a great type of event. It's fun. I saw you had some night golf stuff out last night. How cool. Great fundraiser. This little manual teaches you how to put on a night golf tournament, something different, something unique. So I got some free of these if you want them. And then we send out, daily promotions, daily newsletters. So hopefully we'll get your name and email from the girls, and you'll be now a member of the GTAA. And it's all free, and we hope that we can help you with any questions. You can call me, email me anytime about anything. Okay? Sound like a deal? All right, so let's wrap up. Golf tournaments are not brain surgery. They're a small business. We just got to treat them like a small business. We've got to have a business plan, put everyone on the same page. You've got to hire or recruit a good team, a good volunteer, 6 to 9, thank you for remembering. You've got to find the greatest golf course in the area, which I think, believe it or not, is Crystal Springs Resort. You've got to sell sponsors with a return on investment. You've got to target market your promotion and advertising. You got to fill your field with golfers with the 944 rule. Get your gifts and prizes paid for by sponsors. Have an organized day of event, a great awards ceremony, auction with great experiences. If you do all this stuff, gang, I can guarantee it that you're going to double, triple, or quadruple the revenue of your golf tournament for your cause. The vendors will be here to chat with you after. I appreciate your time and effort. I think I saw a couple of cupcakes. Oh, no, they're gone. So if you want to say hi, I'll be up here for a little bit. And I appreciate you being here. Appreciate what you do for your cause and your charity. Thanks, everybody. Good luck.